it vanished. A commercial flight, filled with people, simply blinked off the screen and was gone. The sky was clear that night. The air was still. On the ground, in a room filled with the quiet hum of machines, air traffic controllers watched their screens. They saw a small green dot, a plane moving along its designated path, just as it should. The steady, rhythmic beep of the radar tracked its progress, a familiar heartbeat in the vast darkness. Then, in an instant, the dot was no longer there. The beep that marked its place fell silent. The space where the plane should have been was now just an empty void on the map. The controllers waited. Seconds stretched into a minute. They tried the radio, calling out the flight number into the ether. There was no reply. Only the soft crackle of static answered their calls. They checked their equipment. Everything on their end was working perfectly. The flight had begun like any other. It was Pan American World Airways Flight 914, scheduled to fly from New York to Miami. On July 2, 1955, a Douglas DC-4 taxied onto the runway, its four powerful propellers humming a steady, reassuring drone. The weather was favorable. 57 passengers and 4 crew settled in for a routine 3-hour journey. The plane lifted off smoothly, climbed, and set its course southward. For the first hour, everything was normal. Another blip on a busy day. Then, it was not. It disappeared without warning. There was no distress signal, no communication from the cockpit. One moment, it was real on their screens. The next, it was gone. The controllers stared, baffled. The vast, empty ocean offered no clues. Catastrophic failure seemed likely. An explosion, or a fatal dive. Search and rescue scoured for days, then weeks. Oil slicks, wreckage, life vests. But they found nothing. The investigation concluded a crash into the sea. For decades, it was a sad, forgotten tragedy. Or so everyone believed. Then, the story takes a turn. Fast forward 37 years. The date is September 9th, 1992. In Caracas, Venezuela, an air traffic controller named Juan de la Corte was monitoring his radar screen. It was a normal day. Then he saw something that did not belong. An uncleared aircraft in Venezuelan airspace. He made contact. A confused, shaky voice asked where they were. The pilot stated they were Pan Am Flight 914, en route from New York to Miami. Juan de la Corte froze. He told them Miami was far, and that today was September 9th, 1992. A long silence. Only panicked breathing. The pilot whispered, "Oh my God." On the tarmac, crews saw it. An old Douglas DC-4, a relic among modern jets. Security rushed. The controller tried to calm the pilot, clearing them to land. Instead, the pilot said, "We are leaving now," and the engine surged. The DC-4 climbed, banked away, and vanished into clouds. It disappeared from radar a second time. The encounter lasted less than 20 minutes. It left a storm of questions. Authorities logged the incident and recordings. Some reports even claimed faces pressed to windows, confused, afraid. A ghost story for the modern age, separated by 37 years. So, what happened to Pan Am Flight 914? The most straightforward theory is that the entire story is a hoax, first gaining attention in the weekly world news, famous for fabricating fantastic stories. There are no official airline records, no government records, no records from 1955, no records from 1992. The controller, Juan de la Corte, appears to be fictional, and the reported events in Caracas also seem made up. In this reality, the mystery is how a compelling story takes on a life of its own, passed from person to person, until it feels true. But what if we entertain the impossible? Another theory suggests a wrinkle in time, a wormhole, a gateway in space-time. The aircraft flew through a temporal anomaly, the plane and everyone aboard instantaneously transported, from 1955 to 1992. For them, no time had passed at all. Miami ahead in their minds, yet a foreign skyline below. The pilot's panicked decision to flee would make sense. The story becomes a modern myth, mysteries beyond the clouds. Ultimately, evidence points to a well-crafted tabloid tale, yet the tale endures.